Lila, Eric Young has blown her appointment.
What?
What do you want to do?
You have the wrong time.
Disagreement about when it's supposed to
When
be.
is it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be right now.
And when does
So
it
do you want it?
rain?
Well, he knew it
I can
now.
zoom in.
Hey, hey, want it later today or what?
Are we rolling?
Yeah.
Oh, you're rolling?
Yeah, let it be today.
Like at 3, because if
3.
Kinney comes back at 2, okay.
Okay, let's go. Get the papers away, Eliza. All right. Okay, Snooty. Okay,
Focus
Snooty.
here.
Let's see a beautiful smile. You haven't got him. Is he going? Okay, Snooty. Come on, beautiful baby. Get in there, Eliza. Come on, beautiful baby. Come on, get in quickly. Get closer. Get really close. What? Get her. Michael, you're not getting her.
Said
You're gonna
get
have to
close.
zoom back to get her.
Get back, Michael. Get back.
Okay. And Eliza, get close.
Yes. Now look
Now
up.
you can get inside.
Look up.
Oh, look, see how he crawls forward.
Not backwards, forward. Look, this is bringing the angle.
Hey, hi. You gotta be down here.
Okay, that's all.
I want to see what it looks like. Wait, let me see him.
Wait. No, end it.
Hello, baby. Hello, gorgeous baby. Hello, princess. Oh, hello, baby. Hello, baby. Is that a fabulous?
I think he got the part.
Hello, baby.
Is the audio on?
Oh, you're real ordinary.
Okay.
Oh,
Stop. Is that fabulous? Oh, did you stop? No. Oh, that's gonna bother.
One over there?
That doesn't bother him that much. Talk too much.
It looks horrible with the one light.
Yeah,
No, you don't need a light on these. You don't need a light.
No, they're wrong. You need it, Mom.
You look good, Lila.
Yeah. Ah, be surprised. Okay. Wait, turn it on now. Is it on?
Of course.
Is it good? Thank you.
Oh, what? Are you Bloomy's baby? Hello.
Johnny got in the habit.
Hello.
On the left side there.
Hi, honey.
Is he smiling?
Yeah. It's like the camera.
Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Is he calling?
You go a little this way, maybe. A little hot on the left side. Go over.
I should move this way? You
Yeah.
following me, Mom?
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's for Priscilla. Come on, wave bye-bye to Mommy. Wave bye-bye to Mommy. Come on, wave.
Wave bye-bye.
That's perfect.
Okay, stop.
You know. Kids get
Okay, you ready? Wave your feet. Are you hold? Oh, okay, I'll hold it.
Focus.
Okay, we're gonna do 3 generations?
Okay, ready, set, go? Ready, set, go. Okay.
Take 1, 3 generations of
Okay,
Garrett.
okay. All right, ready? You got it?
Yeah.
Are we going?
Yep.
Okay, you go ahead. Oh, I talked to him. Talk to him, Mike.
Look at the non-union cameraman.
John does a thing. Okay. His other grandma back.
Jim, is that good part?
He never throws up on her.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, you got him?
Yeah.
Talk to him. Go ahead, Michael.
I'm sorry.
Look at Michael.
Oh,
Look at Michael. Look at Michael. Stand over there so you
It's
can
tough
talk to
playing the
him.
scene after you've just grown up.
Look at Mommy. Look at Jim. Look at Mommy. There we go. Look at all 3 of us. He's smiling.
Who are all those dumb people over there?
Smiling. He looks like you
No.
are.
He's afraid now.
Oh, good. Okay, got the watch.
He's smiling.
Very smiling.
He's smiling. Look at him. Smiling. Quite smiling. Give him a come on. Eliza, I'm smiling. All right, Eliza, come into the picture now.
I think he's thinking dry heat.
You think that, all right, come on, quickly, Eliza, because we don't want to keep the camera running. I don't know why not. Get on the other side.
We should just everybody.
Keep the tape
Ready?
rolling.
Set.
I want us to do
Ready?
We'll edit
Look
it in
dignified,
post-production.
Eliza. Let me get
It's a little tight.
Do we look alike?
Yes, you all look alike.
Do we?
Not great, but alike.
All look like Samuel Goldwyn.
Can we do him sitting up so we can see all the wonderful things?
Okay, Eliza, look at the camera. You got us?
Yeah, this is
A perfect, no, make sure it's perfect.
It's a family.
Is it a family?
You're taking a portrait
up and
Now,
down.
we're going to lower the camera. Ready?
Okay.
Set,
Wait,
go.
follow, hand down.
Now, here we go. Now we're going to take a stand. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Set,
Now walk.
da-da-dum, bump, bump, da-da-dum,
One
bump,
step
bump,
from here.
da-da-dum. You got it?
Yeah, I got
You
it.
got it? Here, come on. Ba-da-dum, bump, bump.
Hello, are you looking? Are you looking?
You would have been sitting.
That's
You didn't, I don't know if
Are
you
you
had to sit.
looking? Go ahead.
No, it's going like this.
Now you walk.
Now you want to me.
Have you got them walking?
Take two of the drunk kids.
Okay, now sit. 1, 2, up.
You have to fold them forward.
It's called too early.
Oh, there we go.
He has to fold forward.
Now, leave it. What? Sit. Yes, we know. Okay, now let go. Now get him seat. Quick, quick, get him seat. How big
Make
it is.
5 months old. I make a
Okay.
slate for him. Look at him.
5 months old. You have him? Are you getting him?
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like a little chimp.
What? Did you hear that?
What do you say?
Does this have,
Pick his head up, Eliza.
He can't sit and hold his head up at the same time.
No, you gotta pick his head up and I look at this. Is this fabulous? I tell you, there's nothing in the world like tape. Nothing in the world like it.
You should pick his head up. His head's in the bald spot.
Get up there.
Oh.
I'm gonna spend all my time looking at this thing.
You're
I think that's it. I think we've got as much out of this stage as just sitting. We can. Just duck in, Eliza, and say bye. Bye.
No,
Okay,
more.
Reel in,
There you
reel in.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
So is the series going to be picked up?
Okay, got it.
Breakaway poll for you on how you feel about pay for housework.
I'm Norman Mark. All this and more coming up as you join us from around the country.
Live from Los Angeles, Breakaway. With Norman and Martha and the whole Breakaway gang breaking these stories. Little girl actress Ann Jillian grows up to be a glamorous ghost named Jennifer. In Toyland, does it harm a child to play with war toys? Tally-ho, a real fox hunt. Only where's the real fox? I'm Gary Owens. These stories live from LA today on Breakaway.
Welcome. We're real glad to see you. Now, today we're going to take a trip to Toyland and check out some toys, Norman. And what I hear is that everything is not just fine in Toyland.
We're talking about war toys,
Yeah.
and I remember my sons lecturing me that, Dad, these are just make-believe. What do you think? Should kids be allowed to play with guns and artillery and tanks?
In one way, I agree that they are just seen as make-believe. I certainly play with a lot of toys that may not have been all that positive, and yet there's got to be a balancing. I like to see some positive things, too. What do you think about the toys today?
Well, whatever you think about it, there's been a big boom in the sale of toy soldiers, toy guns, toy fighter planes, and the sales are even bigger this Christmas season, so some parents are getting worried enough to want to start some arms control in Toyland.
I would absolutely not buy my children any guns to play with.
I don't think I would buy guns for my kids now. I think they're exposed to that stuff enough, but in the house I don't think I'd feel comfortable.
We prefer not to buy war toys for our children.
That's how most parents say they feel. But somebody's buying war toys for their children because according to the National Coalition on Television Violence, over the last year, the sale of violent toys has increased by an awesome 50%. The most realistic of these is the G.I. Joe series, and it is the realism which alarms many parents like Eliza Simons.
I feel that there's ideology attached to it. The slogan for G.I. Joe is, whenever there's trouble, G.I. Joe is there, the great American hero. That the way to achieve your goal is to go with weapons and fight for it. And you are right, and the more weapons you have, the righter you are. And I really object to that. It's the mindlessness of it and the lie behind it. I feel that a GI's experience, a real GI in a real war, is not what our kids are made to believe it is.
Mattel, which makes the He-Man and Masters of the Universe, and Hasbro, who makes G.I. Joe, both told us that these are not war toys. They are simply action toys. These companies feel that these toys do not promote violence.
Yeah, I'd like to shoot a real gun. So I like to shoot a real gun. Not like to play with a real gun. Yeah, I'd like to shoot a real gun.
What does a child hear? They go around singing the jingle, the great American hero. There's no thought attached to those words. What does it mean to fight for freedom? What does it mean to fight? What are you doing to someone else? Who is the enemy?
You feel like you're in a war with other kids. It feels like, that it's a real war, like.
My goal is to stimulate thought in the kids so that they don't just get swept into these ideas through play.
Many successful toy companies agree with that goal, among them Fisher-Price, which is well known for its sturdy, colorful, creative toys, particularly for younger children. But it is their policy not to manufacture guns or violent toys of any kind.
There are limitless opportunities and play themes to create exciting toys for children. Themes like space fantasies, cowboys, sports are all very appropriate and yet are devoid of violence.
But if you have a child with a lot of imagination, they're going to go out and create their own guns.
If you don't buy your children guns and so on, they'll make weapons out of sticks or whatever, you know, a chopping board, whatever, their fingers. That seems to be just a natural tendency. I don't object to that. I also have to differentiate with my kids so they know that their occasional impulses to hurt or to fight don't make them bad. I don't not love them because of that. I want them to find other outlets, that's all, for those kind of feelings.
Eliza Simons' 5-year-old son has found other outlets.
They told me that guns can really hurt people.
Mrs. Simons felt so strongly about this subject that she's formed Parents Opposing War Toys, an organization which has found an immediate response in many parents. Among them is Priscilla Taylor, who talks about today's typical superhero.
He becomes a man that a little boy would want to become, and he is someone who is glorified for killing and for their destructive acts. And a child learns to emulate that.
The response to this movement has been excellent. There apparently are a lot of parents out there who figured they just had to go along with it and are looking for an outlet to express their ideas. War toys are the beginning of the numbing of consciousness that has put us in the position that we're in today, where most of the money in a world of starving people is spent on weapons. And if you can nip it in the bud with the kids, it really can change the world.
How do you feel about it, bringing war toys into your home? How do you think it affects your children? Well, today we've got Dr. Laura Schlesinger. She's with us as Breakaways family therapist, and we're going to talk about toys and their effect on children, or the parent bringing them into the home. What's more dangerous?
The parent bringing them into the home. I think because a toy by itself can be used for all sorts of things, but when a parent gives a child toys which are, you know, the end result of the game is not competition, winning points, figuring something out, but annihilation, I think it's giving over a certain kind of attitude, whether the parents realize it or not.
What about if we've played with games that were violent or had guns and whatnot, watched cartoons that were violent, but a lot of us did not.
I think it's a lot different today. I mean, look at all the computer toys. That's the first place I started to get upset, where all the computer games have to do with eating, consuming, killing, and blowing up spaceships and people, and the more people you kill and the more planets you devastate, the more you win. I think these are much different than playing Scrabble.
I think you might be just trying to stick your finger in a dike that is going to fall anyway. I mean, I tried to say, well, my kids shouldn't play with war toys and everything like that. They shouldn't have guns. And so what do? They went around and I mean, they're going to do it anyway. Why not get them the toys?
Because I think the more realistic the toy, the further away you're getting from the fantasy and the playing, and the more you're getting into the realism of everything they're reading in the paper and seeing on television. And I really feel there needs to be a balance. Let's face it, kids today are being brought up on the first page of the newspaper and every segment they see on television. We are at war everywhere.
Do you have a recommendation for parents?
Yes, I really think they need to balance out the ugly, horrible realities that we have today with the imminency and the actuality of war with programs and toys which don't feed that kind of paranoia, but can give vent to the more lovely, loving, family, fun, competition aspects that kids also need to know that there's some hope in life.
But what would you say to a parent who says kids ought to be introduced to it because that's what life is. They're going to grow up and go in the Army. Why not get started?
Introduced to it, but how do you introduce them?
I'd
say
be
this is
stunned at a parent saying that, I guess, right off the top, because there are also other real things in life, like helping and caring.
Understanding, sharing,
understanding,
yes.
Working out things verbally, as you've said many times, touching and hugging. If they want to deal with realism, why are they only picking out the violent, ugly aspects? There's more to life.
Thank you.
God help us.
Thank you very, very much. Ahead, we've got all the latest gossip from Joyce Jolson after this.